I'll start off with He-Man and Skeletor on Battlecat and Panthor, because we haven't had those in Origins yet, and I don't know if we're going to at this point, especially Panthor. I can't see us getting. But they fit on these pretty well. This Battlecat and Panthor always seemed a little bit too small for me. Like, they just seem a bit out of scale, a little bit too small. But they still look quite good. I think it works well enough. The original 2000X figures were the same height as these new ones, so the scale was the same. And Battlecat and Panthor were just always a little bit off. He-Man fits on better than Skeletor does. Like, He-Man fits on perfectly on Battlecat here, whereas with Panthor, Skeletor's skirt gets in the way. So you kind of have to have his legs on there at a bit of an angle to get the skirt going off to the side. And he does easily slip off as soon as you move the figure. So as soon as I move him, he falls off, because it's mainly because of the skirt kind of pushing him off of the seat. But for just display purposes, you can get him to bounce on there like that, and that looks fine. If we did get Panthor in Origins, I bet he wouldn't be flocked as well. And for me, like, Panthor has to be flocked, otherwise he just seems like a purple Battlecat. Like, it's the flocking that makes him look unique. I'm pretty sure Battlecat and Panthor were designed by the in-house design team at Mattel as well, not the Four Horsemen, who designed all the action figures in 2000X. So Battlecat and Panthor do actually have a bit more of a cartoony look to them than the action figures did in the original line, that were more like, you know, very hyper-detailed statues. So I think this Battlecat and Panthor actually do aesthetically work far better with the new cartoon collection figures. And here's the Pterodactyl, which was actually my favourite vehicle in the original line. I just love the look of this thing. The one thing, though, I would change about it is that I wish the figures would sit inside it rather than on top of it. Like, I feel like it should have a cockpit. It kind of seems weird to have the figure just sitting on top of it. But I guess you'd have had to make the vehicle a bit bigger to do that. I've got Trapjaw on here because I just think he looks good with the vehicle, even though he's actually one of the figures that can't properly hold on to the handles because of his big robotic arm. Like, you can't really position that to hold on to one of the handles. But if you've got a character like Triclops or Skeletor, their hands will hold on to those handles properly. Some of the figures, though, from Origins do have a problem getting their legs forward enough to sit like this. Like, I've done it with He-Man and Skeletor, and their groin piece actually dented their upper thighs when I pushed their legs forward like this. But Trapjaw here, his legs go forward nicely, and it's not pressing against the groin piece. So I don't think there's any fear it's going to dent this one, but it is kind of annoying. Even though the skirt pieces on He-Man and Skeletor and Triclops hide the dents, it still kind of annoys me that they're there. This vehicle has a button on the back that you press. It's behind where Trapjaw's sitting, and it makes all these missile launchers pop up. You've got some missile launchers on the wings that aren't firing, they're just sculpted in details. There's also some really nice missiles sculpted under the wing there. They don't fire either, but they just like look good under the wing. But you've got the guns that pop out on the wing there. And then you do have a firing missile that pops out of the front there. There's a button on the side that you press and that fires out. And also the mouth opens to reveal another gun. But the mouth doesn't hold open, it's on kind of a spring. Which I actually wish it wasn't. It'd be nice if that would just hold open. But the one thing about this action feature that's annoying is that it very, very easily pops up. Like, sometimes the slightest touch of this thing. Because the notch that holds this bit closed isn't big enough. It's just only ever so slightly clicks in, and there's a spring mechanism like pushing up on it the whole time, so it doesn't take much, just like knocking the vehicle to have these pop up. The wings on both sides also fold down for when it's landed, and it makes it easier to store as well. You can kind of make it a bit more compact with those wings, and the legs on the bottom will fold back as well for when you've got it flying, and their feet do move a little bit, but not too much. So there's a bit of articulation in the vehicle. And here I've got Beastman on the Griffin. Now this is actually from Master of the Universe Classics, not the original 2000X line, but that was such a 2000X creature. And these do scale nicely because Classics was a larger scale toy line than Origins. So this was kind of Battlecat Panthor size in the Classics toy line, but in Origins here it makes him bigger than those beasts like it was in the cartoon. It's still not quite big enough. In the cartoon the Griffins were really big. But the scale works nice enough. Beastman fits on there really well. They didn't have saddles in the cartoon, but the saddle makes it so much easier getting the figures to sit on there and stay on there. So you can see here with it next to the 2000X Panthor how much bigger it is, which is a nice scale. And because the Griffin's from a collector line, it has some really nice articulation. It doesn't have any action features, but like the mouth opens and closes, and then there's like double neck joints and knees and ankle joints. Maybe not quite up to today's standards with like a 6-inch collector line, because this has got to be a good 10 years old now, but the sculpting's gorgeous. The sculpting detail on this probably makes it fit in better with the original 2000X figures actually, because this is a 4-horseman sculpt like those figures were. It's not quite as cartoony as the vehicles in these figures are. But I still love having the 2000X Beastman on there. I like having these like this because, you know, it suits Beastman to be on a beast and Trapjaw to be on a mechanical vehicle, because he's more of a techno mechanical based villain. So I just like how these two look together on these two flying vehicles slash beast. Here I've got Keldor on the battle ram chariot, and this is a vehicle that Skeletor used quite a lot in this series, which I always thought was cool. I feel like it suits him to be driving around in a chariot. It's quite grand, and it's got the ram's head designs on the front here. Nothing to do with the original battle ram from the vintage toy line. You know, like this is the battle ram chariot rather than just the battle ram. But I do really like this. It's got some nice detail on it as well. Not too hyper detailed like the figures, so I feel like it still does work with the more cartoony aesthetic. But I like all the little cracks and things in the stone, and almost like little bullet holes and things. And when you roll this along, it makes the heads on the rams at the front there butt up and down. There's also a button on the back underneath here that makes the front bit completely fire off, like that, and these bits come out, which I actually find really annoying, because that part under there is like naturally, whenever I go to pick this up off the shelf, I naturally grab it like this, forgetting that that button's there, and these go flying off, and it's amazing I haven't broken anything yet, and it always makes me jump. For every single goddamn time, I forget it. But in the back here where the figure stands, there is a foot peg that actually fits into the Origins figures, so they haven't changed the size of the foot pegs in 20 odd years, which is good, because it means that it's compatible, so you can plug his foot in there to get him to hold on more securely. You can also pull this bit out here, which also has a foot peg on, so you can stand another figure on the back if you really want to. And the hands hold on to those handlebars well, like they clip into his hand, so even if you haven't got the foot peg in, he does hold on there quite securely. We never saw Keldor driving this in the show, but because I had Skeletor and Panthor, I just wanted to mix it up a bit, show a few more of the different figures on these vehicles. And here's the attack squid, which in the cartoon was actually an underwater vehicle, which Clawful lent to the other evil warriors when they were under the sea. But Clawful actually won't fit on this because of his larger torso and because his arms are longer and he's got the claws rather than hands. You just can't get him to hold onto the handles there. But if you've got more of a regular size figure like Merman here, he sits on there and holds those handles really easily, really nicely. Got missile launchers either side here, which fire. All the missile launchers on these toys are actually quite powerful. They're really good missile launchers. And if you push this along the ground, there is a wheel underneath that makes the claws kind of go up and down. And the tentacles spin a bit as well. It kind of makes it look like it's walking along the ground, which, I mean, I guess you're supposed to pretend that it's at the bottom of the ocean walking along the ground. Though the land shark in the vintage toy line was a land shark, so you know, you can use this as an above water vehicle if you want to, but it makes more sense to me to have it as an underwater vehicle. And that's one of the things I like about this and the war whale that we're going to look at in a minute, is that as far as I'm aware, they're the only underwater or water-based vehicles at all that we've had in Master of the Universe. Like I say, the land shark in the vintage toy line was a land shark. We never saw that used underwater or on the water or anything. So it kind of makes this and the war whale quite unique and interesting vehicles, because we've got quite a few flying vehicles and quite a few land-based vehicles. So it's nice to have some sea ones. The tentacles are on bendy wires as well, so you can kind of pose them around how you want to. But I like how Merman looks on this. The colours just sort of match well because they're both greeny. Remember when I was a kid, I actually didn't like this vehicle. I always thought it looked a bit too messy with all the tentacles and claws sticking out. But I've learnt to appreciate it. It's actually this cartoon collection that made me go back and buy all these vehicles. I only had a couple of them when I was a kid because I wasn't that keen on them. But the cartoon collection made me appreciate these vehicles more because the new figures just look so much better on them. And here is the war whale with man-at-arms on. I really like the war whale. It's another vehicle that I just never had any interest in when I was a kid, but since getting it, I just love it. It's basically a jet ski, but designed to look like a whale, which actually screams Eternia and Master Universe to me. That's just the sort of thing they do on Eternia, like the land shark, you know, just make it look like an animal. And this is another one where it's got the wheels on the bottom, like these rubbery wheels, where you push it along. It makes the mouth open at the front, it makes the fins go kind of up and down there, and it makes the tail at the back go up and down as well. So it makes it basically look like it's kind of swimming along the surface of the ocean. I'm going to have so much fun when I get home getting the dirt out of these wheels. Get a toothbrush on that. But yeah, it's quite a nice feature. And there's loads of missile launchers on this as well. There's one in the mouth, one on each fin on the side, and then one on the handlebars. I haven't bought any of the missiles with me because they're kind of in the box for this, and it's like under a ton of stuff in the garage. But they, you know, they're all good, nice firing missiles. So you've got 4 missile launchers, so it's pretty armed up. And I like the colours of this as well. It being blue is just a very sea colour, like an oceany, watery colour. Man-at-Arms fits on there nicely, holds onto the handlebars well. Though I find that actually Masterverse figures fit on here even better. Like, these Origins figures have to ever so slightly stretch to fit on there, whereas if you've got a Masterverse figure that's kind of 6.5 to 7 inches tall, the longer legs and the double knee joints and elbow joints make it fit on there really nicely the way it sits. It seems like it's just ever so slightly too big for the Origins figures. This only ever appeared in 1 episode. Most of these vehicles only appear in 1 episode. It's only really the Pterodactyl and the battle ram chariot that get multiple appearances, and the Griffin. And here's the Dragon Walker. And when I was a kid, once again, I never liked this vehicle because I love the original Dragon Walker. It just looks so Masters of the Universe, like just the general design and aesthetics of the Dragon Walker. It's kind of like the battle ram and, you know, the attack track, the Talon fighter, like they all just scream vintage Master of the Universe and that Eternian aesthetic. Whereas this to me looked like a generic robot dinosaur, which put me off. But actually, since getting it recently, it's so much fun to play around with. The walk-in feature works really well. And I mean, technically it fits the name Dragon Walker better than the original, which didn't really walk. It just had this weird rotation, this completely impractical vehicle. But I mean, it's a great vehicle. I love that vintage Dragon Walker. But this one actually does literally walk. And the legs move really well. I can't demonstrate it out here because it won't work. It has to be on completely smooth, flat surface. It won't work on carpet. It won't work out here. It will just fall over pretty quickly. But I will film this when I get home on a flat surface and show you. The legs move really fluidly. It's almost hypnotic watching the legs walking. This is another vehicle that only got 1 appearance in the cartoon, with an episode that seemed written specifically just to advertise the toy. Cyclone here actually won't hold on to the handles. I've put other figures on here and they did hold on. Like He-Man holds on to those handles, but Cyclone's hands are just a little bit too small. But I want to put Cyclone on here because I want to show different figures on each vehicle. And I just think the colours kind of match up nicely. Cyclone on the Dragon Walker here with the blue and the red. Got a missile launcher on the handlebars there. It's another one that fires up quite nicely. Cyclone's legs also fold forward really well. They don't push against the groin piece, so there's no scratching or denting. It's another reason I wanted to sit him on here rather than He-Man, because I've already dented that He-Man's thighs a little bit. I don't want to do it anymore. I feel like I was too harsh on this Dragon Walker when I was a kid. It's actually quite a cool looking toy. You have a button underneath the tail that switches it on and off, but then to actually activate the legs you have another button here that you press in. And lastly here we've got the Battle Bones, which never appeared in the cartoon. I don't think it even appeared in the vintage cartoon, which is a shame really, because it's quite an iconic vehicle in the franchise. But I think it's because it's a vehicle that the good guys and the bad guys fit into in the advertising, so maybe the makers of the cartoons just didn't know what to do with it. Like, do you have the heroic warriors have it? Do you have it as an evil warriors vehicle? Is it just like a bus service in Eternia that picks up anyone? This has a bit of a cybernetic look to it. They've put robotic parts on some of the leg and the tail and the head, which I'm not so keen on. But other than that, I actually like this design of Battlebones more than the original. Like, I just love the face sculpt on it. It's kind of really vicious looking. Also feels more solid and durable than the original one, which was quite brittle and was notorious for having the ribs break off. Like, the mouth opens on this one like the original, and you can store weapons in there. I've got He-Man's sword and Cyclone's shield in there. But the mouth clips closed, so it holds the weapons in there more securely. Whereas on the original, it was just kind of loose. So it would easily, when you're picking it up, you know, things could fall out. But that actually clips closed, so it holds the weapons in there securely. The ribs / clips on this are a lot harder than on the original, that were a bit brittle. Like, these are solid, but they have a bit of a flex to them as well, but not enough. Like, I wish they were a softer plastic, so you wouldn't have to worry about them snapping still, but you also wouldn't have to worry about them scratching the figures. Like, when I put the figures in this, because those ribs are so tight and so hard, I kind of worry that I'm going to scratch the figure. And I actually did dent Merman's armour a little bit. It's only a tiny bit, but it did mark it, which has kind of annoyed me. So, and that's why I haven't put too many figures in this, because I don't want to put too many figures in and like up the risk of damaging one. So I've just got these 4 in. The female figures in particular are easier to slide in because they're thinner. But I feel like by trying to fix the problem on the original toy of those ribs being too brittle, they've actually now made them a bit too hard. Even though they do, like I say, they have a flex to them as well, but it kind of flexes inwards a little bit more than it does outwards. And they do come across as very hard. On the original figure, the handle was just kind of 2 little finger grips sticking up out of the spine, whereas on this it's the tail. And that does actually unclip, and you can fold it backwards, which is a nice feature. And it also has a missile launcher on the front. I don't have the missile with me. There was a missile that just goes in the front there, and if you pull that back, it made it fire out. But man, this is a great looking Battlebones. It always felt to me like the vehicles and the action figures in the original line were from 2 different toy lines, like they just didn't gel at all. Like the hyper detail of the action figures, and yet there's like a bit more simplified designs of the vehicles. And a lot of those original action figures didn't even fit on the vehicles very well, so it really was like it was just 2 completely separate toy lines merged together. But that's because they actually were designed by 2 different groups. The 4 Horsemen designed the action figures, and then an in-house design team at Mattel designed the vehicles. So there wasn't really that much cohesion between the 2. But these new Origins figures, being a bit more of a simplified cartoony design and with the better articulation, works so well with these vehicles. Most of these vehicles you can actually get pretty cheap on eBay, especially if you don't mind getting them loose, like second hand. I bought most of these this year. It's only the Pterodactyl and the Battlebones and Battlecat and Panthor that I already had. So let me know what you think of these vehicles in the comments, if you think they're compatible with Origins or not, if you like them. There aren't actually that many videos on YouTube about the old 2000X vehicles, because I get it was just before YouTube became a thing. So by the time YouTube was out and toy reviewers were looking at toys, 2000X had kind of been and gone. But there's some really nice vehicles in the line actually. I kind of dismissed them because when I was younger I didn't feel like they looked Masters of the Universe-y enough. Like the original toys, the vehicles were so unique. And yet these ones looked a bit more kind of generic vehicles and didn't fit in with the action figures, but I do really like them now. I actually like that they're a bit more cartoony looking now that we've got these action figures to go with them. So thanks for watching everyone, and I'll hopefully catch you again soon.